In this video, I'm going to be describing fair value gap. Now, there are two kinds of fair value gaps. We have a normal fair value gap and an inversion fair value gap. And if you look at this, if you have, for example, you have candles. Let's say we are bullish, right? Now, let's say this is our first candle, and our next candle is moving. Let's say it passes the previous candle. Yes. Now, let's say also the third candle, for example, maybe I'm having here. Now that and that. Now, the space in between, the space on the middle candle, of which this is the middle candle, the gap that's in between that has no candle on the other side, this gap here, let's say from the previous week and the lower week, if you look at them, let's say the space in between is what we refer to as a fair value gap. Now, when another candle comes in, let's say the candle is trending, it is bearish, right? Bearish, moving downwards. The candle comes from up, let's say from here, and now that candle comes and passes this fair value gap right here. Yes. Now, what it does here is what we call the inversion of a fair value gap. This is what we call inversion of a fair value gap. Now, this is very important when you have points like a breaker block where the market does not respect the order block, so it turns into a breaker block. So now let's try to see this on an actual chart. Now, if you look at three candles, if you look at this candle, the black one, this candle here, the black candle, this black candle here, and this one, and then this one. Now, if you look at this, there's no fair value gap here. Why? Simply because if you look at this candle that wicked in between this candle here, so there we cannot say that we are having a fair value gap there. I saying that, but if you look at the previous candle, this candle here, the white candle, if you look at it on this side, we're having a fair value gap. We're having a fair value gap. If you look at this, there was a fair value gap here. I saying that. So this black candle inverted. I saying that. So if there was an order block at this point, it turned into a breaker block. Yes, that means that the market comes and respects it and then continues with this direction. Now let's look at another example. If I have, for example, look at this black candle, this long black candle. Yes, and we are not having the third candle, so I cannot guarantee that I can find there a fair value gap. But now let me look at another example. Now let's look at this candle. There's a candle there, and this last candle. Look at the middle candle. There was a fair value gap up to here. Seeing that this, let's say, tested it and dropped down. Then finally it was inversed at this point. That's why you find that it was retested, and then the market continued its direction. Now let's look at this. If you look at this, this candle here and this and that, we're having a fair value gap at that point and this point. Are you seeing that? So that's how we can identify fair value gaps in the market.